Why don't you introduce our next guest, Mark? Because you were hitting me under the table that you weren't active enough.
Well, I'd like to introduce Larry DeMeo. Larry's with Manion Gaynor and Manning, which is one of the top litigation firms in downtown Boston. And Larry, thank you for being on the show, and looking forward to hearing more about. You have a specialized area of the litigation that Manning Gaynor does, and I understand you do a lot of IP work.
Yes, it's a pleasure to be here, and it's nice to see you, Mark.
Thank you.
Yeah, we do. Manion Gaynor Manning does all types of nationwide litigation. They're specialized in highly complex litigation, all types of tort defense and commercial litigation. They're really renowned for that. My particular practice focuses especially on IP litigation, and that is really a subset of commercial litigation. At least I view it that way. And we help businesses in all sorts of intellectual property disputes. I'm a patent lawyer, so a lot of my practice focuses on patent litigation, but I also help clients get patents, protect their intellectual property, and design IP strategies.
Larry, you know, the interesting thing for our listeners is you're an entrepreneur yourself, and that when you came out of law school and you had your your work for the judge, but then you, as you said, you really developed your own practice. And I think that's really helpful to you, in my opinion, when you're going out and you're working with startups and you're working with intellectual property, because you melded the two. And I'm sure your clients can see that.
It is a certain mindset that one has to go out on their own and say, I have an idea and I have a business plan and I can make it work with my own sweat equity and with my own skill and innovation and know-how. And it's a little bit of a daring personality. And I think my clients understand that I'm on the same wavelength with them, especially the more entrepreneurial clients, which I suppose my practice tends to gravitate toward, both through IP and through commercial litigation.
Do you find that there are certain common errors that the entrepreneurs sort of practice that you would like to warn them about?
There are. I was thinking ahead of time, and I tried to come up with a list of things that entrepreneurs often get wrong and could lead to problems. The first two are not specific to IP, but it's something that I've seen often. And the first one that I thought of is failure to get any equity agreements in writing. When you first have an idea for a business and you're talking to somebody especially, and you've got this team, everything's rosy, you see how you're going to make money, you've got an idea that nobody else has had, everything's going to work out great. Everybody's got the pink glasses on. A lot of times that means you don't take the time to think, what are we going to, how much of this is mine and how much of this is yours? So you don't put it in writing.
Right.
And oftentimes people have a very different idea of what belongs to whom.
Right.
Somebody thinks it's 50-50, somebody thinks, I'll make sure you get your 10%. And that ends up down the road being a big problem. And that's especially a big problem for people whose contribution to a new company is either sweat equity or intellectual property. And the second problem that's not particular to IP is failure to establish and maintain a separate entity. Now, often they maintain a separate entity, but when you're doing a startup, and I had this same problem when I started my own firm, it's very tempting to just, my money's the firm's money, my money's the business's money. I'll buy this, I'll do that, and they fail to, for instance, assign intellectual property to the company and make sure that intellectual property is owned by the company. So that's the first two that really aren't specific to IP, but are often problems that lead to litigations right off the bat and lead to failures of good ideas and good businesses to really get off the ground. No equity agreements and failure to maintain a separate identity.